Welcome to the Mastering the Keys series, where we'll learn how to master every key on the piano. Whether you're a music producer, a songwriter, or just looking to improve your musical skills, being able to play in every key is important because it allows you better control over the sounds and emotions that you can create with your music. Many people believe that each major and minor key has its own unique feeling associated with it, so let me know what your favorite key is down in the comments below. The last minor key video that we looked at was C# minor, so let's travel up that circle of fifths 5 notes and we'll arrive at today's key, G# minor. First, let's take a look at the key signature. G# minor is the relative minor key for B major. This means that the two keys will share the same key signature. Like with B major, this key has 5 sharps. If you see 5 sharps in a key signature, those will always be F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, and A sharp, because of the order that we add the sharps and flats into the key signature. Now let's talk about the notes that make up the key. Since the key is G# minor, the root note of the scale is also G sharp. To find the notes in a minor scale, we will start on a root note and use the minor scale step pattern of whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, and whole step. Following this pattern gives us the notes G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, and then back up to G sharp. Now let's try playing the G# minor scale on the piano. Scales that start on black keys typically don't start on finger 1 in the right hand or finger 5 in the left hand, like some of the white key scales from earlier. Because we try to use fingers 3 or 4 when shifting or crossing over our hands from white to black keys, scales that start on the black keys will typically start on finger 3 or 4. Now to play this scale on the piano, our right hand middle finger, which is finger number 3, will start on G sharp, and we'll go finger numbers 3 and 4, then shift up so that finger 1 will land on B, and we'll have 2 on C sharp and play 3 on D sharp. Then we'll shift again so that finger 1 lands on E, finger 2 will play F sharp, and then back to G sharp with finger number 3. We'll then head back down the keyboard with 2 on F sharp and 1 on E. Then we'll cross over or shift your hand down 3 notes so that 3 lands down on D sharp, 2 will play C sharp, and 1 plays B. Then we'll shift back down so that finger 4 plays A sharp, and finally 3 will land back home on G sharp. Again, those finger numbers are 3, 4, shift, 1, 2, 3, shift, 1, 2, 3, then back down with 3, 2, 1, shift, 3, 2, 1, shift, 4, and 3. Now practice that scale pattern slowly until you can do it 3 times in a row without making a mistake, and then you can slowly work on speeding it up. Now once you feel comfortable with that, we can move on to the left hand. We'll start with finger 3 in the left hand on G sharp and play finger numbers 3, 2, and 1, then slide that hand up so that finger 3 lands on C sharp, 2 plays D sharp, and 1 on E. Then we'll shift over and hit 4 on F sharp and 3 on G sharp. Then we'll head back down with 4 on F sharp and then shift so that finger 1 plays E, 2 plays D sharp, and 3 plays C sharp. We'll shift back down one more time so that finger 1 plays B, 2 plays A sharp, and then 3 ends on that G sharp. Again, those finger numbers are 3, 2, 1, shift, 3, 2, 1, shift, 4, 3, then back down to 4, then shift, and 1, 2, 3, shift, 1, 2, and 3. This scale is a little bit more difficult than some of the previous ones that we've worked on because each hand has 2 shifts in each direction instead of 1, but at least they both start on finger 3 this time. Be sure you practice those shifts slowly and methodically so you can do them without having to look at your hands every time they shift their position. Now once you can play that left hand without any errors, we'll try putting them together. Now let's set up our hands with finger 3 on G sharp in both hands and play G sharp, A sharp. Then the right hand will shift up to B, the left hand shifts up to C sharp, then D sharp, and the right hand will shift up to E. Now the left hand shifts up to F sharp, and then we'll land on G sharp with finger 3 in both hands. Now we head back down from G sharp to F sharp. The left hand will shift down to E, the right hand will shift down to D sharp, then play C sharp, and the left hand will shift down to B, the right hand shifts down to A sharp, and finally we'll land back home with finger 3 on G sharp in both hands. Now let's do that again, but a little slower. We'll play G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, and then G sharp. Now back down to F sharp, E, D sharp, C sharp, B, A sharp, and then G sharp. Great work so far. Once you feel comfortable with those scales, we can go ahead and move on to the arpeggios. Arpeggios are just runs that will play the root, the third, and the fifth notes of the scale. In the key of G sharp minor, those notes will be G sharp, B, and D sharp. When we play arpeggios that start in a black key, we'll switch up the fingering on them from what we're used to for scales that start on white keys. We'll use what I've heard called the Oreo position because we're playing a black key, a white key, and then a black key again, making a little Oreo piano cookie. In the right hand, we're going to start with finger 2 on G sharp, use finger 1 on B, and then we'll swing that finger 2 around over to D sharp, and then hit the next G sharp with finger 4. Then we'll repeat the pattern and shift that thumb over to B, hit D sharp with 2, and play G sharp with 4. Then we'll head back down with 2 on D sharp, 1 on B, and cross over and hit 4 on G sharp, 2 on D sharp, and 1 on B, and then cross over back to finger number 2 on G sharp. Again, those finger numbers are 2, shift, 1, 2, 4, shift, 1, 2, 4. Then back down, 2, 1, shift, 4, 2, 1, shift, 2. The left hand will play the same notes, but it uses a different fingering. We'll start with finger 2 on G sharp, then hit B with 1, then shift up to play D sharp with 4, use 2 on G sharp and 1 on B, before shifting over to play 4 on D sharp and then 2 on G sharp. Then we'll go back down from G sharp to D sharp with 4, shifting down to play B with 1, then 2 on G sharp and 4 on D sharp. Then we'll shift again to land with finger 1 on B and finally end with 2 on G sharp. Again, those finger numbers are 2, 1, shift, 4, 2, 1, shift, 4, 2, back down to 4, shift, 1, 2, 4, shift, 1, 2. Now we can practice each hand separately very slowly until you stop making errors, and then we can try putting them together. Playing the arpeggios with both hands at the same time looks like this. Now, awesome job with those. It gets easier from here on out, so just stick with it a little while longer. And now we can talk about the chord progression in G sharp minor. We go through and play the 1, 4, and 5 chord progression because these are the most common chords in pretty much any piece of music or song that you'll ever want to learn or write. In a minor key though, the 1 chord and the 4 chords have a minor quality, so you'll see the lowercase Roman numeral under them to show that. Even though we're in a minor key, we'll still use a major 5 chord, even though that third interval of the 5 chord is not actually in the minor key signature. Typically, when we play in a minor key, we'll put a major 5 chord instead of a minor 5 chord. There are theory reasons why this happens. They pretty much all boil down to it sounds nice, so that's how we're going to do it. So the minor 1 chord of G sharp minor is spelled G sharp, B, and D sharp. The minor 4 chord is C sharp minor, which is spelled C sharp, E, and G sharp. The 5-7 chord is D sharp 7, which is spelled D sharp, F double sharp, A sharp, and C sharp. Now a double sharp is exactly what it sounds like, in that a sharp raises a note a half step, and a double sharp raises it another half step. So an F sharp is played here on this black key, but adding another sharp puts it a half step up here on this white key. This is what's called enharmonic, which means that a note has another name, but it shares the same pitch with that note, which would be G in this case, because that F double sharp and G have the same pitch. But for theory reasons, we still have to have an F as the third interval of this triad, so we'll just raise it again to make the chord go from minor to major. Now for the sake of making this chord progression easier to play, we invert the minor 4 chord to its second inversion, which will make it be spelled G sharp, C sharp, and E. Then we invert the 5-7 chord to its first inversion, and we'll eliminate that fifth interval of the chord since we don't really need it anyway, and we're trying to keep these notes down to 3 to make a triad. And that'll give us the notes F double sharp, which is played on the key of G, then C sharp and D sharp. So for our progression, we'll play that G sharp minor chord in its root position, then that minor 4 chord, the C sharp minor, in its second inversion, spelled G sharp, C sharp, and E. Then we'll go back to the G sharp minor, then up to that D sharp 7 chord in its first inversion, but without the fifth, giving us F double sharp, C sharp, and D sharp. Then finally we'll go back and end on that G sharp minor chord in its root position. Playing them all back to back looks like this. Now great job making it through those. There's just one last thing to talk about before truly mastering the key of G sharp minor, and those are the inversions. These are just different ways that we stack the G sharp minor chord. Now let's take a look at the right hand. We'll play a G sharp minor with G sharp, B, and D sharp using the classic 1, 3, and 5 fingers. Then we'll move finger 1 up to B, so we'll play B, D sharp, and G sharp with 1, 3, and 5 again. Then we'll move the right hand up again so that the finger 1 is on D sharp, and we'll play D sharp, G sharp, and B with fingers 1, 3, and 5. And then finally we'll play that G sharp minor chord in root position, but an octave up, with fingers 1, 3, and 5. In the left hand, the notes are the same, but we'll use different fingers. We'll play that root G sharp minor chord with fingers 5, 3, and 1 on G sharp, B, and D sharp. Then we'll shift up to play B, D sharp, and G sharp with fingers 5, 3, and 1 again. Then we'll move up and play D sharp, G sharp, and B with fingers 5, 2, and 1. Then finally move up one last time to play that root G sharp minor chord with 5, 3, and 1. When we put both hands together, it'll sound like this. Now great job making it through those. Like all the other parts of this process, go slow before you grow. The hardest part of learning the piano is giving yourself the grace you need to allow yourself to be purposefully bad at something when you're first starting out. It's always alright if you don't nail something on the first try. Just let yourself learn and enjoy the process of growing in your new skills. Now let's go ahead and put together everything that we've learned today. We'll do the scale, the arpeggio, the chords, and then the inversions. Now congratulations on mastering the key of G sharp minor. Give yourself plenty of time to work on this key because it's a little bit of a harder one, but it's totally worth it to have this key in your musical arsenal. If you found this video helpful, please help out the channel by giving this video a like and subscribe if you aren't already. Thanks for watching, and be sure to stay tuned for more musical content.